After the pre-season testing session in Bahrain, let's take a look at what we have really learned from the 3 days of tests as we approach the first Grand Prix of the 2024 Formula One season. The main outcome of the Sakhir tests is that Red Bull remains ahead, but Ferrari can hope to fight. If we had to summarize the impressions from pre-season testing in one sentence, the most realistic to describe what was seen is the following. Ferrari is the second force behind Max Verstappen, while Sergio Pérez is an uncertainty as he once again seems unable to make it work with Red Bull. Indeed, while Max Verstappen's dominance is a verdict, the difficulties of his teammate cannot be overlooked as they are evident. The SF24 has proven to be very solid, improved compared to last year's car, eliminating its main weaknesses, drivability and tire degradation. Ferrari has completed the work program without any hitches. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz covered a total of 2,251 kilometers with the SF24 in these 3 days of action in Bahrain. The new car from Maranello has proven to be reliable and solid during this period, allowing the Scuderia to follow the original plan and even carry out more aggressive setup tests to verify the responses of the car. The SF24 has confirmed its accuracy in terms of data, with an exact correlation between simulator and track. Both on Thursday and Friday, the Italian side completed a full race run, making 2 pit stops and using 3 different tire compounds, thus simulating the entire Bahrain Grand Prix, which will take place in less than a week. Carlos Sainz on Thursday and Charles Leclerc on Friday followed a very similar work plan, both using C3, C2, C1 tire compounds, although the Monegasque diversified the second and third stints, reversing the order compared to his Spanish teammate. The SF24 started with a full tank of 100 kg of fuel, simulating a real race. However, there was a substantial difference in the setup of the car between the two. The setup of the Ferrari SF24 has been changed between the two drivers. After receiving positive feedback in these initial outings, the technicians wanted to push the car even more with more significant changes to the setup. In this case as well, the Maranello car responded as expected, both positively and negatively, without presenting any unwanted surprises to the technicians and drivers. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc have fundamentally different approaches to this type of work. The Monegasque driver prefers a more aggressive approach even in terms of modifications to be made to the car. On Friday, we saw an SF24 that, in the long run, experienced slightly higher degradation than the day before, but significantly increased the race pace with faster lap times. The Spanish driver, on the other hand, performed a more consistent race simulation, fast but with a lower peak performance. The Ferrari SF24 is convincing in race pace. At the same time, more work and especially speed on the dry lap are needed. Since this winter, and as Enrico Cardile confirmed during the presentation and subsequent tests, one of the main goals of the development of the Ferrari SF24 was to improve drivability and make the aerodynamic platform more stable. This would help the drivers push, but above all, find more consistency in race pace and better manage the tires. The data from these tests confirm that the SF24 has more downforce than the 2023 car, as anticipated during this winter, and as seen during the first outing at Fiorano for the filming day. The race pace simulations also show the progress made in race consistency and tire management, with a car that is much easier to drive and stable for the drivers. Although the step forward is clear and encouraging, it does not seem to be enough yet to compete with Red Bull. At least in the first race, then with the developments, maybe things can take a different direction throughout the season. At the moment, it is challenging to identify a third, fourth, and fifth force, but the group of contenders will presumably be formed by McLaren, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. The first of these seems slightly less competitive in race pace, the second in qualifying, and the third in both configurations. Yet, considering that smaller gaps are expected compared to 2023, in particular circuits and conditions, they could have important opportunities. The new Racing Bulls teams seem to have come much closer to the top 10. The performances of the other teams are a big unknown. Williams had reliability issues, Alpine showed little and seems difficult to drive, Sauber seems to have worked well, while Haas focused mainly on understanding how to work with the Pirelli tires. Therefore, establishing the hierarchies of the last positions is complicated. Finally, a consideration about the International Federation is deemed necessary. A solution for that Bahrain by loose drain cover, which stopped the testing session twice in 2 days, must be found by the start of the Sakhir race weekend. On a city circuit like Las Vegas and Baku, given the presence of the classic road drain cover unprepared to withstand the speeds and load of a Formula One car, a failure can be understood. On a track now consolidated in the calendar for about 2 decades, and above all a permanent one, something more must be guaranteed in this regard. Formula One deserves it. The teams, the drivers, and the fans deserve it. We will see what solution will be implemented for the Bahrain Grand Prix next week. In short, these were our considerations on the pre-season testing session ahead of the 2024 Formula One season. What are yours? Let us know with a comment on this video, on our social media profiles, or on our website.